Last week, it was a comeback drive to remember. Defending series champion J.R. Shepherd broke his suspension early in the race and was as far back as 16th. It took him just 50 laps to charge his way back up to the lead at North Wilkesboro. Tonight, the top drivers of the Bootleg Racing League look to do battle at the home of the Snowball Derby. Who will come away with the victory in the Sunshine State? We're about to find out live on the Global SimRacing Channel. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the virtual Five Flags Speedway in Pensacola, Florida, for the second round of the 2020 Season 3 campaign of the Bootleg Racing League Grand National Series. I'm Justin Prince. Alongside of the booth tonight is Devin Henry. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beer. What does it take to get around this very difficult short track? Let's take a look at your GSRC lap guide for the best way to do so.
Welcome to Five Flags. This half-mile paved oval opened in 1953. Five Flags Speedway takes its name from its proximity to Pensacola, Florida. Pensacola, Florida is known as the City of Five Flags, which references the fact that it is 5 governments that have ruled the city. Five Flags is one of the fastest short tracks in America, thanks in part to its 15 degrees of banking and the wide turns that give the track a nearly circular configuration. You never have a chance to rest at Five Flags with the speeds that you carry and the close quarters that you always find yourself in. Five Flags is also very bumpy. Managing the bumps is one of the keys to victory here. Turn 1 is tricky. You carry a lot of momentum off of turn 4, and you have to try to roll the car down and get down into the corner. And the fastest way around the track is about 4 inches away from that pit wall. Things happen fast at Five Flags, with most of the lap times averaging around the 16-second mark. Fast track, fast cars, amazing action. All of these are what Five Flags is known for, and just the type of racing that you are going to see today. So stay tuned, buckle in, and enjoy the race.
That was a look at your GSRC lap guide for the best way around Five Flags Speedway. Now let's bring my broadcast partner for tonight, Devin Henry, as we get ready to go racing at a very difficult short track.
Yes, this track is extremely demanding. It's going to be a tough task to end up in Jeg's victory lane there. This oval here is just half a mile, of course, but these turns 15 degrees in the straightaways, well, they're straight, but they're definitely not flat. Still 9 degrees of banking in the corner, so there's really not a huge drop-off once you get onto your straightaway, just about 6 degrees. And also, of course, down these 48-foot straightaways into those corners, yeah, it is only half a mile. If you're in the racing group, it can be more than that, though, but yeah, you're not going to be gaining any positions if you're not inside that rubber and down, maybe not hugging that yellow line, but yeah, it's going to be a one-groove track, and you're going to need to get creative here tonight to pass some cars.
We'll see who's the best and most creative when it comes to passing throughout the night here on GSRC. But we'd like to say thank you to our series sponsor, The Cruise Shop, for being a part of tonight's coverage here on the Global SimRacing Channel. They are a team of highly experienced travel agents that have a huge passion for travel. The Cruise Shop specializes in cruises, all-inclusive resorts, escorted tours, Disney, family travel, groups, honeymoons, and weddings. They would love the opportunity to help you plan your next dream vacation. Call them today at 260-755-6125. Let's take a look at how the last race went to start off the campaign, shall we, when it comes to the point standings. For those who missed the opening race of the campaign, it was a blast for the past at North Wilkesboro Speedway, where J.R. Shepherd came away with a victory. Bobby Rafferty came home in second, Justin Morton in third, James Lowe fourth. Brian Dean rounded out the top 5 in that race. Keep in mind, Rafferty started 14th in that event. Dean started deep in the field in 11th position. Now tonight, it's going to be interesting to see how some of those drivers do when they have to start at the back today here at Five Flags, Devin, as we get ready to look at your race details to see what these drivers are about to deal with.
For those of you guys who are watching NASCAR, this is something similar to what they're doing this weekend at Pocono. But in this series, it's the top 8 get inverted as opposed to NASCAR's top 20. But that's what makes things really interesting. So J.R. Shepherd will be starting 8th in this 100-lap race. No tires swapped out here. If you take a pit stop, well, you got to keep those old tires going all 100 laps. You do get a fast repair, though, that will help you out. But, of course, that top 8 invert makes things fun, Justin, when you get to see some of the fast guys like Bobby Rafferty and J.R. Shepard coming from the back.
Indeed, as these drivers make their way around the track, they're currently in the midst of practice for the next 8 minutes or so. As mentioned, no qualifying for these drivers, just 20 minutes to get used to the car and get used to the setup before they hit the track. What are the track conditions? Keep in mind, they have ran 2 separate events today, many of these competitors, which were in sunny skies. This is the latest start time of the day, with 81 degrees the track temp, 76 degrees Fahrenheit the air temp, partly cloudy skies for tonight's event. It should be a fun one, to say the very least, Devin, because a lot of drivers say this, that the second race of the season is the real beginning to a campaign because it's the chance to build momentum or potentially have to play catch-up.
Yeah, and this is typically the second or third race in the Bootleg Racing League Grand National season. We are in the 3rd season of this series. And looking back, of course, your back-to-back champion, J.R. Shepard, has been so dominant in this series. But you mentioned how important race number 2 is. And J.R. Shepard hasn't finished better than 3rd place here at Five Flags. This is the home of James Lowe in the series so far, the only winner in the Grand National Series so far, and right now he tops the board here in practice as well.
See that on the left side of your screen, Shepard in the 7s, James Lowe currently in the 16.6s at the moment. Now one driver is getting ready to compete who's in the 5th spot on that practice board. Michael Redding came away with a victory just an hour or so ago in the SK Modified division. He's standing by for today's pre-race interview for what should be an exciting one. We'll get the chance to speak with him in just a moment or so, at the very least, but it was a strong race in that one, to say the very least. He joins us now in the broadcast booth in the number 30 machine. Michael, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling all right.
Probably making your way around the racetrack, as we can see on your screens right now. But first things first, you won earlier tonight in the SK Modified race. How are you feeling about that one, especially having to fight J.R. Shepard for a good 10 laps side by side?
It was definitely a tough battle with him, but man, once we got by him, we were just on rails that whole race.
What makes this track so difficult, in your opinion, though, whether it's in the modifieds, the street stocks, which is the early card event, or whether it's in these Grand National machines?
I think the uniqueness of the configuration, the way the track is, maybe the way the weather is to it. I don't know. It is difficult, but to me, it's pretty simple.
Talk us through the lap, then, as we're on board with you right now. Currently on your 27th practice lap, talk us through what you're feeling in this race car.
Pretty tight right now. It's loose centering and tight from the center to the exit.
And how difficult do you think it will be tonight to try and make passes in the traffic? For example, you've been following behind Bruce Pearson throughout this practice session. He is currently on lap 6 or so in the stint.
You're definitely going to have to keep it under control, not let it push up. It's going to be hard to pass for sure, and I already know I've got a long way to go starting in the back.
Indeed. So with that in mind, what's your game plan for tonight to try and recover from what was an up and down race for you in the opening event of the season, P16 in North Wilkesboro?
Yeah, you had to remind me of that, didn't you? No, we're just going to try to be a lot more consistent, a lot more conservative through the race, and at the last back half of the race, we're going to try to make our way through the field, but we're not going to force anything early.
Anything else you'd like to add before you hit the racetrack for tonight's 100-lap race?
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to Willie Whitaker. He's going to spot me tonight, and got to thank our good sponsors, Hot Pit Media that just come on board. That's our new podcast that we're doing over at Evil Motorsports, and got to thank Max Throttle Motorsports for also being a part of our team as a paid sponsorship as well.
Good luck tonight. We'll see how you do here at Five Flags.
Appreciate it.
Michael Redding currently following along with him. He's 5th in practice in the 16.8 at the moment. Now, Devin, what are your thoughts on what he said as he gets ready to hit the track? Pretty good pace around this racetrack. Even the traffic, he's been very quick for the most part.
Yeah, and first things first, usually when we interview someone, they'll kind of move off to the side, which Michael did there at the start, because it takes, I mean, for those of you guys who don't do it, it takes a lot of concentration to be having an interview and racing at the same time. And he was putting down some pretty good laps while talking to you, Justin, so I thought that was pretty impressive. But yeah, he mentioned how, he didn't say this directly, but when I look at this track, this is a bowl. I mean, the corners are longer than the straightaways. Everything here is banked. So you won't have exactly that same problem like you had at North Wilkesboro, where too much acceleration on exit will whip around the rear end, no problem here, with that little bit less change in banking and how it's still banked on the straightaways. But still, I found it interesting how he said that he was tight on exit, because usually when you come to a short track, it's always just so easy to rip that rear end around when you're trying to get back on that throttle. And I think that tonight, saving those tires is going to mean a lot when you're at a track like this. With just how banked it is, it's so easy to raise those tire temperatures so quickly, especially if you're in the midst of a battle for position.
Absolutely would agree with you, and that came into play, mind you, in the SK Modifieds, where Shepard led in the first half of the race. Tires then went off. James Lowe, he's currently looking strong so far throughout this practice session, still at the top of the board, only driver to touch the sixes. And you mentioned Lowe and his performances. Always someone to battle with against Shepard in many of these races. How do you feel about his chances tonight in that Dodge Charger?
Well, first of all, of course, I know that he doesn't want to finish fourth in the season opening race at North Wilkesboro, but then he gets to start fifth, so he gets to start a couple rows ahead of J.R. Shepard. And we mentioned already, as dominant as Shepard is in the series, he has yet to even finish second place, much less win here at Five Flags, while this has been the home of James Lowe. On top of his performance here the past two seasons, he also has the ability to start 2 rows in front of J.R. Shepard. So I think that this orange and brown number 99 might just be the car that you want to watch at the start of this race. I know Shepard's going to come through the field. I know he's going to conserve his tires and be great at the end, but I'm really going to be watching that 99 at the start. How many laps does it take for him to get up to P1?
I'm curious to watch Bobby Rafferty as well, because he was strong at the end of that race at North Wilkesboro. We followed on board with him a little bit early in this practice. He's third on the board so far and looked very sporty at the end of the runs in both the street stock and SK modified races for BRL competition tonight. Your thoughts on Rafferty?
Well, he's already done so great this season. I know it's just been one race, but it's a huge second place finish after starting outside the top 10. That's a great deal of speed that he had there. Last night in our broadcast of the Dirt Street Stocks, he ended up taking the win that night as well. And so, I mean, he has a little bit of speed. He's got a little bit of momentum. He's got a little bit of everything coming into this very difficult track.
Rafferty already 2 third-place finishes on the evening around this racetrack, and do 2 different types of cars in the span of only about an hour and a half. But these drivers just about done practice. Low overall the quickest, with Shepard, Rafferty, Moore, and Redding rounding out the top 5 in this session. Once again, top 8 inverted after what was a competitive first race of the campaign. These drivers ready to sort themselves out for tonight's starting grid. As the drivers now make their way to the front straightaway to grid up for tonight's action, let's take a look at how they'll line up here on the Global SimRacing Channel. After an entertaining first race, Donnie Moore will look to try and improve, starting from row number 1 alongside Todd Liston tonight. Brian Dean starts in the 3rd position. James Lowe starts in P number 4. Bobby Rafferty starts the inside line in 5th, with J.R. Shepard in P number 6. Bruce Pearson and Jeffrey Harden round out the top 8, with Kurt Smith in P number 9. Joe Sagawa starts in P10, with Laurel Jewell starting in 11. Michael Redding, our interview, starts up in P number 12, with Robbie Robinson, Chris Wolfson rounding out the 14 drivers for tonight's event here. So a bit of a smaller grid. We had about 17, 18 drivers for reference sake, Devin, when it came to the first race of the season. That's why the invert is only to the top 6 based on the drivers who did not get the chance to race tonight.
Yeah, and I always like when there are more cars. Yeah, there is more chance of cautions, but also you do get some more rubber down on the track. And this is a place where if you can get more rubber a little bit outside the racing groove, it might help everyone moving on through the race. But that's going to make this an even more one-lane track as we go through this 100-lap race.
Cars now rolling their way off the starting grid. Robinson and Wolfson making their first starts of the season. How do you feel those two will fare at the back of the field tonight?
It's going to be a tough one there. I mean, I know that there's a little bit less of a grid here, but having Robbie Robinson starting in 13th, the Air Force vet is going to have a tough climb up through the field. And also the principal, Chris Wolfson, man, I always hate starting in the back row, but it is a little easier to conserve your tires at the start. But, man, you got to eat them up trying to come through the field.
One lap to green. I'd like to remind you that timing and scoring is available at GSRC.TV. Once again, GSRC.TV to keep track of your favorite drivers and teams for tonight's action here from the virtual Five Flags Speedway. Your keys to victory real quickly, Devin, for tonight's race.
First of all, get to the inside, but for those of you guys coming through the field, don't eat up those tires too much. It's so easy on a bank track like this to just run through your tire temperatures. Don't do it. Keep it conservative.
See who can conserve their tires tonight. More in control of the field. Green flag is out. We're underway from Five Flags.
Great jump for the top six, but Donnie Moore blasts off on the green flag, and he is easily in the lead. Todd Liston is out to dry right now on the outside as James Lowe looks to the inside and is already taken over third.
Off in a turn one, Lowe takes away the third spot. Now Rafferty looking to attack Liston. Liston struggling to find a hole, and quickly Shepard closing that gap in the Sunoco machine. Just not enough space for Liston to try and dive down quite yet as the battle for seconds up for grabs. Lowe's found his way to the bottom.
A masterful line by Lowe in 3 and 4. Dean barely left a door open, but the 99 was able to hug that inside, get all the way around. He's already on the rear bumper of Donnie Moore.
Lowe looking to take the race lead early on lap 4. Couldn't get the run to the bottom side that time. The ASPCA machine looking to hug the bottom side as Monte Carlo, the Dodge, looks to fall behind. Brian Dean in the throwback machine for Ward Burnham in his Pontiac rounds up the top 3.
So if you're Donnie Moore here, how hard do you try to keep the 99 behind you? Obviously, if he gets out in front of you, there's no coming back. But here comes the pass for the lead, Justin.
Open up the bottom side, the 26 up the track, the 99 side by side at the stripe. Lead lap goes to the 26, but Lowe has the bottom side. James Lowe to the race lead.
There's just no rubber, no speed right now outside that primary groove, and already Brian Dean was close to getting to that left rear quarter panel of Donnie Moore. This top 3 starting to slip away, but the one thing that you don't want to see if you are anyone in this field is James Lowe knocking down the fastest laps and running away from the field.
16.8 last time by. Donnie Moore is 17.1 along with the rest of the field in comparison's sake. And this is something we talked about a bit in pre-race. How Lowe can perform at this track. He's been able to plant the throttle on corner exit to just pull the gap by about half a tenth each corner exit.
And right now, talking about your 2-time defending champion, J.R. Shepard, he is inside the top 5, but has only moved up 1 position so far. But you see the gap between him and Bobby Rafferty. Usually when he's coming up through the field, he's just from one rear bumper to the next rear bumper, but still not able to reel in that 7 car. But you do gotta wonder, how much is everyone conserving when it comes to tires?
And remember, you don't have any sets of tires in the pits throughout today's race. Just one fast repair if you get damage, meaning you have to keep these tires on for the entire race. And that's something Shepard did a fair bit amount, despite having to come back from 16th in the last race, to make sure he had enough grip in the tires left to be able to pull away for the final 24 laps he led.
You see in front of him right there, the 7 car of Bobby Rafferty, the New York mechanic and fabricator, just hugging that white line. Used to be 77. Yeah, your screen isn't bothering you or anything. Yeah, just dropped a 7 out there. I guess I gotta find out why that was.
So did that on social media, in fact, in some cases, as Rafferty just behind the 23 machine of Dean. Rafferty now with the run, looking to make the pass in. The Ford just can't get to the bottom side quite yet. Trying to dime in the corner to get the run this time. To the quarter panel, inside for P3.
That was almost dangerous there by the 7, deciding to dime in that corner. If you can get stuck on the outside, you will lose spots for sure. And now Brian Dean has to get back down as soon as he can. He has that Sunoco 98 right there on the inside, trying to truck along on the inside too.
Side pride away from Dean, the winner of the street stock race earlier tonight. Shepard up to P4 as a result. Todd Liston also trying to follow on through, up inside the top 5 as well in the 87 machine, just in the backdrop of all these air cars.
Well, we see it sometimes like at Sobo, and we saw that North Wilkesboro win that outside lane, can have a little bit of fight in it, but right now, man, boy, if there's a caution, you want to be restarting on that inside. No one has been able to fend off anyone if you are stuck in that outside lane tonight.
Absolutely. Still in the choo-choo train right now is Dean, but losing a bit of ground. The next grouping is Bruce Pearson on back, the 96 for 7th. Jewel just made a dive in the backdrop. You see that for the 19 machine. So everyone's just getting to race rhythm here already. The gap between 1st and 8th, for comparison's sake, 3.8 seconds.
And for everyone here, this has been a pretty good opening run. Just about everyone is staying in line. Everyone is getting into their rhythm here. The only side-by-side racing is right here. Michael Redding to the inside and around Bruce Pearson, that 96 car. We see him so strong like last week at North Wilkesboro. Just struggling right now to keep it inside the top 10.
That Mission 22 machine continuing to slide back at this point. Right now, if you're Pearson, what do you do? Because he is, as you mentioned, going backwards. Was decent in practice in short run pace, but the long run pace has already fallen off to the 18 seconds. As car trouble, contact, Kurt Smith brings up the first caution. Pearson smacks the wall as well.
And collects Robbie Robinson with absolutely nowhere to go and gets pancaked into the outside wall there. We'll take a look what happens here in our GSRC replay. The 6th throwback of Mark Martin there on Kurt Smith as we watch him go through 3 and 4. We'll see what troubles he has here. Looks like he was sideways on the straightaway. Looks okay, looks fine, and just lost it on the straightaway and to the inside wall and just nowhere to go for Robbie Robinson. And that is absolutely brutal for Bruce Pearson, just trying to avoid it and kind of just floated out a little bit too much.
Here's a look. Take a listen, Robbie Robinson.
That's a hard impact.
That just developed so quickly that I don't think half the field realized in that grouping there was a car snapping off that wall.
Yeah, and that was tough for Kurt Smith because I don't know what happened there. If maybe just had a little bit too much wheel on it or in it on exit. And I know when you're in situations like that, you try to be as gentle with the wheel as possible because if you snap and overcorrect too far right, it ends up being the exact same situation. Try to keep it as low as he could there and slow it down, but bouncing off the wall and unfortunately collecting 2 other drivers who are already going to use their fast repair only 22 laps in.
Lucky dog is Hardin. Kurt Smith, the DNF, elected to exit from the racetrack after that trouble. Hardin 3 laps down after a technical issue. But quietly throughout this run, the self-employed master plumber in Donnie Moore has been able to hold on to P2 throughout this run.
Yeah, and we'll see who can fend off who when it comes to this restart because, man, that outside lane is just absolutely brutal and they do not leave any survivors out there when you're hung out to dry as we see the shade start to overtake Five Flag Speedway here. That might bring down the track temperature a little bit here as we're already back down to 80 degrees, almost back down to the air temperature here, but still got high humidity, some high winds coming from the northeast, so still plenty of obstacles weather-wise for these drivers to overcome while trying to keep their gear intact.
Indeed. And reminder again, double file restarts in this series, so that will mean Moore and Shepard will have to start on the top line once again for this upcoming restart, coming to 76 laps to go. 24 laps completed at the stripe. Lowe has led a majority of the laps as the lights are off on top of the pace car. Gonna be curious to see how many drivers can take advantage of the bottom side based on the pace we see.
Yeah, it's kind of cool when you restart 5th and you bump into 3rd. We saw Todd Liston and all his misfortune on the initial start. He might be able to make all that back up here on the restart, starting inside row number 3.
See who gets the best jump. More on the top side, low on the bottom side. Pace car is off. Low waiting for the green flag, off and away. Back to racing. And a good jump for Low off into turn 1. More stuck on the top side. Shepard found a way to the bottom quickly.
Could not have ended up any better for J.R. Shepard. Had a massive gap there between Rafferty and Liston. Was able to take advantage, and now Donnie Moore is stuck on the outside, restarting in second, and he's going to lose a couple more spots here because I know J.R. Shepard is not going to try to get off that rear end of the 7 car in front of him.
6-year Legends car racer dives to the bottom of the racetrack for P3. Moore now stuck on the top side once again for the second time in this race. Shepard rips away P3, +3 from the drop of the green flag now for the 98.
And meanwhile, James Lowe has accumulated a 6/10 lead here, only 2 laps into this restart. A great jump and a great burst of speed there for the 99.
Taking a look on board, this is with Donnie Moore trying to defend on the top side. Not able to stick that momentum as you look back at Lowe once again. The gap already 0.6 of a second. Bobby Rafferty had a quicker lap by 4/1000 of a second last time and has stabilized the gap between first and second compared to when it was more in that spot.
And you know, usually, personally, I'm pretty content with finishing second, but I could imagine that finishing second 3 times in a single day in the same league might get a little bit annoying here. We'll see how hard that 7 pushes here as we are now 30 laps into a 100-lap race at Five Flags Speedway.
Going to 69 laps to go this time by. The top 3 have ran away from 4th on back. Gap has already gone down by about 1/10 of a second the past 3 laps. So Rafferty's starting to push and close in just about 0.5 or so a lap. That time nearly a full 10.
Rafferty here, he has his eyes set. Of course, there's no lap traffic. It's just you and the guy in front of you. And these two have been running completely different lines this entire race. Lowe is kind of a little bit higher in that rubber. Meanwhile, Bobby Rafferty has been hugging that line all the way around both corners here. And corner speed is just so important when you come to a track like this, where the corners are longer. There's more distance in the corners than there are in the straightaways here. So while straightaway speed, yeah, it's always important, but here, since there's so little, being able to carry that speed through the corner is so important. With Rafferty doing it so well on the very bottom, count me as impressed here as he continues to try to hook in Low.
There's also the difficulty, though, in that, Devin, of making sure you don't clip the apron. How do you try and make sure you don't do that, especially, say, if you're in a battle with groupings such as Pearson and company?
Yeah, that is mental stability that I do not have over 100 laps to keep that wheel and keep that car on top of the apron. The only thing here at Five Flags, the apron is a little bit banked, so you might be able to get away with it, but that might be a mental lapse that we see late in this race.
Slowly but surely, Pearson losing touch. That grouping battle is on for P number 6 up the track, though. That is Lowell Jewell, able to make the pass in the 19 machine. He's one of the biggest movers in the race. Redding also a +5 as well. Chris Wolfson also +5 in the race.
I mean, these two have almost been following each other from the back this entire race so far, but the boss man moving up to 6 in that black number 19 car. And Brian Dean falling back now into 8th. We saw him run up front for a while, but now on the inside, Michael Redding with a chance to get around Lowell Jewell. I do always want to add, though, a great job there by the 23 of Brian Dean, not only knocking off the pit road cone, but now trying to grab another spot for his own.
Donovan Peak goes back up to the top side as Jewell misses the bottom line in 1 and 2. Redding, though, tries to run away. He ran a 17.8 last time by. The amount of fall off compared to the drop of the green flag, about 7 to 8 of a second for much of the field.
And it's only going to keep growing. We still have 61 laps to go. No new tires you can get. We have some cloud coverage, but now the sun, that afternoon sun, is peeking back out and trying to heat this track back up, and that will not help at all when it comes to grip.
Yes, indeed. At this point, going up is the track temp. The lead is also starting to shrink back down, now under 0.4 of a second up the road. That's because James Lowe starting to miss the bottom side off 3 and 4. That's another 10th loss to Bobby Rafferty in the Ford Fusion.
That 7 car is coming up. The Jim Beaver Esports driver still hugging that line. That 99 car has had a number of issues in 3 and 4. You see how he kind of starts a little high, but then starts to float this time, able to get back down on the bottom. We talked about earlier in the race how Redding was talking about being tight on corner exit. Well, it looks like that 99 car is starting to have that exact same diagnosis, and you scrub off a lot of time if you can't get off the corner with speed.
Your contact between Rafferty and Lowe trying to send it to the bottom side that time, as Rafferty still can't get on by. Now here's another thing to think about, Devin. In terms of the entire day so far, for all the series, just 4 cautions combined in 140 laps of competition. So you can't just bank on the caution flag to bunch everyone back up to reset your tires either or try and cool them down.
No, you cannot, but what is in the 7 car's favor right now is time. This time by, there will still be 55 laps to go, so you have a little bit of time here to see if James Lowe makes a mistake and you don't have to push your tires too hard to make this pass. What is not in his favor, though, is that 3rd place is keeping up, and his name is J.R. Shepard.
In fact, Shepard was a full 10th quicker, but the same so many times has been repeated, including earlier today in NASCAR Cup Series action. It's easy to catch up to somebody. It's harder to try and make the pass, and that's been the case for Rafferty, now trying to find any way to force blow into a mistake. Well, Shepard, he's got the chance with the fact that he's got 5 car lengths difference on these two to reel them back in and make it a 3-car scrap.
Rafferty wants to put on the pressure, but you don't want to back off too much. We're in 5 laps. Now you're getting pressure from behind. That Sunoco logo, the throwback Sunoco logo, is no stranger to a lot of rear view mirrors in this series. And so as that logo gets larger, you kind of get a little less timid, maybe a little bit more aggressive as, okay, it's time to go.
Let's take a look on board. This is from the right side of the cockpit. Perfect view for the fight for the race lead. Has closed the gap to about 0.5 of a second between him and Rafferty.
And this is a great spot to see the different line utilization by these 2 leaders up front, and even Shepard running a little bit different. As you see, Rafferty enters higher, exits lower than the 99. Meanwhile, Shepard kind of more so in the middle of those 2 lines, and then almost the opposite here in 3 and 4, where Rafferty's lower the entire time and trying to get to that rear quarter panel of the 99.
Nearly hit the back bumper at least a couple times throughout this run. That time Rafferty clips the apron, having to save the car a little bit. Loses about 0.5 tenth, but able to hold on to the grip.
Yeah, that apron is a little forgiving. Boy, Rafferty is a loose coming off of 4, but you don't want to tangle with that apron too much as we are now past the halfway point. But Shepard has closed this gap dramatically, and this is essentially a 3-car battle for the lead, and they have a 4.5 second gap on the rest of the field.
48 laps to go this time by from 5 flags. Again, Rafferty trying to find his way into victory lane for the first time this season in this competition in division. Rafferty still over the back bumper. Shepard now within 0.4 of the top 2.
And you talk about how he only got to invert the top 6 due to a few drivers not being here. Looking at 1, 2, 3 on the field, they started 4, 5, 6 on the starting grid and have found their way up to dominate this field here tonight. But still, it is anyone's race. But right now, J.R. Shepard is looking mighty
front
fast.
straightaway. Joe Segawa hard into the wall. Caution flag is out for the 2nd time tonight.
Well, that changes everything. I definitely don't want to be Bobby Rafferty in this situation, or I guess Joe Segala either for that matter. Not a ton of damage here on the left side. Might be a different story, though, on the right side. Take a look here on the GSRC replay here. See that black and green. Of course, the chrome number on the 81 car there. Right behind Chris Wolfson, the principal, and then the boss man in front of him, Lil Jewel. Can come off of 4 here, a tight battle. That must be the next lap here, but a couple of tight battles here on this track, not just for the lead, but there are some guys back here towards the rear of the field all stacked up. A lot of positions here are playing to give and gain.
Seen a bit of that bobble off of turn 2 last time, and then similar to what we've seen with Rafferty and similar to what we've seen with Kurt Smith, Segawa snaps the next set of corners. So it seems if you clip that apron and snap a little bit loose and heat up the back tires just a touch off too, it seems to really settle in and turn forward and make it very loose off the corner.
And it can be painful sometimes because you know when you hit that apron and you're a little loose on exit, you're going, well, usually I'm tight, so this is a little weird. And essentially by then you know I'm going to need to pull off some miracle because this car is going to turn when you know it's such a drastic change on corner exit from bad tight to, ooh, it feels a snug loose. That's not the typical thing I get here.
He'll use this one fast repair, is one lap down. Lucky dog is Robbie Robinson, though. So a good break for the 56 machine. Puts 11 cars on the lead lap, 43 laps to go. So at this point, what's going through your head, Devin, if you were in the cockpit of these cars?
I talked about having that mental awareness earlier to not clip that apron. It's going to become more and more difficult. You can even see right now, since there's not much of a line really in 3 and 4, it becomes a little bit more difficult to miss the corner. If you enter a little bit too low, you don't notice, oh, that's the apron right there. And so being able to keep your eyes ahead of you and know exactly where that apron is might be a difference maker here.
Absolutely. By the way, the biggest mover in the field just so happens to be our pre-race interview, Michael Redding. Let's check in with him. Michael, this is the broadcast booth from the Global SimRacing Channel. Do you have a copy real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
How are you feeling in this race? Because you're the biggest move in the race so far, +7.
Take it. Just taking my time, man. Feels good right now.
What's it going to take for you to win this race?
Still gonna have to keep patience. Still a long way to go.
I'll let you get focused for this restart. Good luck. That was Michael Redding up into P5. He'll start row 3, bottom side. So the top 10, Lowe, Rafferty, Liston, Shepard, Redding, Moore, Wolfson, Jewell, Dean, and Pearson. Pace car is off. 41 laps to go from 5 Flags, and another good launch by Lowe.
Oh, the outside lane stacked up. Rafferty got a great jump compared to Liston and Donnie Moore on the outside here, and he's going to be able to try to battle off Shepard, but I just don't think that outside lane has enough in it to hold off that 98 car.
Rafferty sliding up the track, a bit of a bobble from the back end. Still stuck on the top side with 40 laps to go. And now J.R. Shepard up the second, Rafferty letting him go.
Yeah, I've read this story a few times. The 99 and the 98 leading the field here, but now it's at 5 Flags. J.R. Shepard has not finished better than 3rd here in the Grand National Series, but now he has his eyes set on that brown rear bumper of James Lowe. Has a chance to try to reel him in here and take his first career Grand National win at 5 Flags.
And keep in mind, Michael Redding up to 4th spot now after the good restart, so this could potentially turn into a 4-car scrap for the race lead. They're all lined up single file. Liston staying with this group as well. Behind them, 6 on back. They've already lost a couple seconds because Brian Dean is holding on for dear life on the bottom side. Has already been passed by 2 cars on the top this lap.
Yeah, you gotta wonder how much tire that 23 car has left in it. We've seen him get stuck on the outside, I think, more than anyone else. And when you're trying to fight for those positions, you use up so much tire. And now, I mean, man, there's still a lot of racing to go. You got to hope that that 23 car has enough in it to hold off more drivers as he tags the apron. What did I say right there? Able to save it, though, but since there's no line right there, it is hard to differentiate the apron from the bottom of the track.
Good save for the 23 machine. Still holds on to the bottom side as Wolfson not able to dive quite yet to the bottom in the Hamlin's automotive machine. Let's take a look on board with the 17, looking to gain more positions. He's a +5.
Yeah, been a good day so far for that 17 machine. Wolfson, though, almost had another position, but almost had a crash. It's a little scary there when you're the driver behind. Meanwhile, up in front of him, you see Lowell Jewell get way out of shape. Donnie Moore making a pass for position here to move into the 6th position. That 19 car looks like there might be something wrong.
Yeah, really missed the bottom in 3 and 4 by about 2 full lengths just about. Now is falling back right to Dean in this grouping. Dean actually slipping back on the corner exit once again for the 2nd time in 3 laps. Battle for 2nd is up for grabs. Shepard's lost the bottom now. Rafferty wants the spot back. Shepard scraped the wall down the back straightaway. Rafferty still fighting on the top, on the bottom.
Easily the hardest we've seen anyone be able to fight and keep up on that outside lane, but look out because Michael Redding's going to try to follow that 7 car Bobby Rafferty. Rafferty tags the apron and almost goes around phenomenal save, but he'll lose 2 spots, and that car is still massively loose.
That's where the dirt track inexperience comes in. The Jim Beaver Esports driver able to save it, but falls to P5. He had been really pushing the very edge of that apron off turn 2 throughout the race. That time it bit him.
Yeah, trying to use some of that experience that he had winning at Lima Land last night on our GSRC broadcast, but that car is just mean loose, and the number of times that he has slid, those tires are just dying on that 7 machine right now.
Trying to find a way back, Liston, and nearly slid up and nearly tapped the wall down the back straightaway. So definitely has burned off that right rear, it seems, or at least the left rear on that race car.
That car just looks like a monster right now, man. That is a hard car to control. This is where you hate to say it, but man, I just want to finish the race right now.
28 laps to go in the race. This battle now 3 seconds back as Liston gives up the ghost. Rafferty now up to P4. Compare that to now the race lead battle. As Rafferty saves it off of turn 2, James Lowe still holding on to a 0.6 of a second gap. The question is, can Shepard reel him in and try and make the pass in the closing stages of this race?
And how about Michael Redding able to keep up with this group? We haven't seen anyone be able to keep up with Lowe, Shepard, and Rafferty, but right now Redding is still in this hunt. He's still a part of this top 2, but you gotta wonder how less tire he has. I would say if he has more, then he might be able to reel these guys in, but might have to hope for a mistake from these 2 who are usually the most consistent in the series.
Very strong run tonight for a driver that picked up some sponsorship, as mentioned. Looking to impress for these competitors tonight in the eyeballs on this race car. Still though, 24 to go.
Always has that Evel Knievel helmet going on there. You can see it in the mirror right now. He ain't afraid of no danger, so you'll see that car get a little sideways. You see him overcorrecting there a little bit off of 4 just about every single lap so far, but still having to sit back and watch this battle for the lead as Shepard continues to try to reel in James Lowe.
A little bit quicker last time by with Shepard changing up the line, and you can see the differences. Redding a little bit higher up on corner exit in turn 4. Shepard a little bit lower, basically the Rafferty line that we've seen earlier on. Lowe continues to try and use the double apex, it seems, in 1 and 2, and a little bit of a higher line in 3 and 4.
We'll continue to see these guys experiment. There's still so much race to go. Still 22 laps that these tires are going to change, that rubber's going to go on the track, and we've seen so many drivers have issues with ill handling loose race cars. Who will be the next guy to fall victim of these old tires?
Meanwhile, behind them, Liston's been reeled in by Donnie Moore. We've seen Moore get stuck on the top after being as high as up at the front of the field, being the pole sitter for tonight's race. Pace difference, very minimal between those 2 drivers, to say the very least.
Absolutely, and a very tight battle going on as Moore finds a little bit of a run off the corner, hits the wall. Yeah, it's tough to try to get on the outside someone on corner exit. This is not the track where you want to try to pass on the outside. On exit, Liston gets way loose in 2.
Almost feel like he can tell something was going on with Liston if he was moving up high off turn 4.
Yeah, possibly. These cars are just getting so loose right now. And back to the battle for the lead. J.R. Shepard is caught up a little bit. Michael Redding has started to fall off the tail of the 98 car here. But these guys, they're just so good at conserving their tires. With how many issues that we've seen tonight, we all wonder who might have a little bit of an issue first.
Good corner exit for Shepard. Had to throttle around on the corner exit. 17 to go this time by. Shepard again has to check up off the corner.
Shepard just has so much speed, though, and entering way high here in 1. Going to cut down. I don't know if that's going to gain him enough speed to really add some momentum there, but still trying out different lines. Where will the car handle correctly? And you're able to pick up speed. The 99 issues off of 4.
Flip the apron. Here comes the battle for the race lead. Shepard to the bottom side. Side by side. The 98 on the bottom. The 99 on the top. Shepard gives the squeeze. Off into turn 3. Lowe still defends hard as Shepard tries to get clear off turn 4. He leads his first lap of the race. Still can't get clear as Lowe continues to scrap.
Door to door, Low putting up so much of a fight there on the outside. The 98, the rear end wiggles just a little bit. Low putting on quite a fight. No one has ran the outside so well so far in this race, but the inside just enough. J.R. Shepherd clears James Low, and he is to the point here with 15 to go.
Down to 14 to go now. Shepherd now tries to hold on. Can Low try and fight back? They have a cushion of 1.9 seconds between the two of them and Michael Redding.
Plenty of room to wiggle with. Behind them, Bobby Rafferty is another 3 seconds behind Redding. But now if you're Low, this is where you got to start thinking, okay, he's got a little bit more speed. Where can I find that speed? And if I can get back to him, where's the pass going to be made?
Sent it really hard on the brakes that time. Low leaning on the right rear tire. Able to save the bobble as 12 laps to go this time. Still can't find a way to battle back. Was the quicker of the two last time as he bobbles off two.
In the past 2 seasons of Bootleg Racing Grand National Series events, James Low has had 5 flags. The house of James Low winning both races. J.R. Shepherd had not finished better than 3rd in either of the races that we have held here, but now looking to try to take the win as he's going to come to 10 to go this time and is starting to make a gap here on the 99.
Now up to 0.3 of a second at the flag stand. A strong run for J.R. Shepherd, quietly maneuvering his way to the field. Found his lead for the first time tonight at 14 to go. Once again, another hard send by Low into corner entry. Now with 9 to go, back under 0.3.
And both of these drivers have had to fight and scrap tonight. They both started or restarted on the outside lane and have had to put up with that, with cars trying to rail them on the inside, coming from 6th place for Shepherd, 4th place for Low. But now J.R. Shepherd, I don't know if he's just the king of conserving tires or what, but still starting to make a gap as the laps continue to wind down.
Low missed the bottom last time by. Joel, for comparison's sake, is up to P8 meanwhile. Trying to catch back up to Chris Wolfson in one of the other battles around the racetrack. Rafferty and Moore also scrapping up the racetrack as well. Dean is also within a second or so of this group.
And right now, because we invert the top 8, Lowell Jewell in the pole position for 2 weeks from now, as we will take off celebration of Independence Day next week. But in 2 weeks right now, he's looking mighty fine to be able to be that pole sitter when we have the top 8 invert.
Really good position at the moment to do so if he's thinking about the track position game. As Shepherd has now ran away by half a second, coming up 5 laps to go. High 5 from the flag stand. P4 up for grabs again. Rafferty, really loose, has been sliding every corner exit the past 2.5 laps, Devin.
That car's looking more like a late model on dirt than a Grand National car in the ARCA series right now. ARCA does run dirt, right?
Oh, contact
here. Bobby Rafferty shoved way up the track.
Donnie Moore making door-to-door contact. Rafferty now shuffled back. Back. Moore runs away. Up at the front, though, with 3 laps to go. Low trying one last gasp. Gained another 0.5 of a second last time. Shepherd trying to reel it back forward.
Low has speed. He's still there, but coming to 2 to go. He's lost just too much space. And this isn't a track where you can throw some sort of haymaker and try to make it stick on the bottom. You need to be there on the bumper if you want any chance to make a pass here this late.
Lap traffic is ahead, but may not be a factor in this grouping as they come to the white flag this time by. 1 lap to go. Shepherd at the stripe. Low in second spot. Who will come away with the victory is the question.
Boy, that 98 car dangerously low, almost clipping the apron loose on exit. That will help Low out a little bit, but will it be enough? Shepherd just has to take it to the checkered.
Back-to-back to start the season. J.R. Shepherd wins his 18th career Grand National Series race. Low comes home in P2, Redding in P3, Moore and Rafferty round out the top 5, and Jewell will start on the pole for race number 3 of the season.
Boy, how about your hard charger tonight? Michael Redding coming from 12th all the way up to a podium position. A great run there for the 30 car tonight at 5 flags.
Off to turn one to celebrate once again, similar to what he did at North Wilkesboro. Post-race coverage coming up in just a few moments. You're watching the Global SimRacing Channel for the virtual Five Flags Speedway, or Bootleg Racing League action for the Grand National Series division. Welcome back, everyone, to the virtual Five Flags Speedway for tonight's coverage of BRL Grand National Series action, sponsored by The Cruise Shop. Call them today at 260-755-6125. For J.R. Shepard, it was an incredible drive. Started in 6th, was deep in the field much of the run, but with under 15 laps to go, took the race victory and never looked back by half a second. The checkered flag waved for Shepard for his first win of this racetrack, an 18th career victory in this series over James Lowe. Michael Redding, the biggest mover of the race, went from 12th to 3rd. That rounds out the top 3. They'll be standing by for post-race coverage. Johnny Moore finished in 4th, with Bobby Rafferty rounding up the top 5. Todd Liston finished in 6th, while 7th went to Chris Wolfson. Lord Jewell will start on the pole for the 3rd race of the season after finishing in P8, while Brian Dean fell back to 9th after starting in 3rd. First driver 1 lap down and rounding up the top 10 tonight was Bruce Pearson Devon.
Dosagala brings it home in 11th, Robbie Robinson 12th, Jeffrey Harden, after some early issues, brings it home in 13th, and Kurt Smith will round out the field, who brought it home on the grid.
That's a look at the running order for tonight's action. And as J.R. Shepard continues his celebrations, let's check in with the second place finisher, James Lowe. He's standing by with Devon.
Yeah, bringing that 99 car home in second place, James Lowe. Man, what else did he need there? That 98 was fast, but he kept up with them. What more did he need there to try to take that win here tonight?
I need about 200 more horsepower. Seems to be about every week. I was just taking it real easy there at the beginning, and just guys had other gears that I don't have, so we'll try it again next week.
And these cars just got wicked loose as the race continued to move on there. How did the car feel to you there after 100 laps? I think everyone got pretty good amount sideways there in that race.
Yeah, it went bad in 1 and 2, but 3 and 4 it would push like a dump truck, and then it'd be loose off. And there was one time there when JR was behind me, I got down on the apron, which was a mistake on my part. But overall, not too bad.
Bringing it home tonight in second. Who do you got to thank for this 99? Bringing it home in P2 here tonight at Five Flags.
Yeah, I just think my team, Balls Out Racing, Lowell for putting all this on, the Cruise Shop for sponsoring us, and you guys for broadcasting.
Absolutely. That orange car brings it back on the podium once again. James, thanks for joining us, and congrats on a second place finish.
Thanks, guys.
Now let's hand it back on over to Justin Prince. He's caught up with tonight's winner, J.R. Shepard.
Yes, indeed. J.R. Shepard, your 18th career victory in this series, your second victory of the campaign to start the season. How are you feeling about tonight?
I'm pretty excited about tonight. This is a terrible track for me, and I tried all kinds of different stuff tonight, just trying to see what would work or not work. And I was able to save enough at the end. I had a little bit more tire at the end than what those guys had, so that I think that came down to the difference.
Was going to ask, how was it for you where you started in P6 and had a lot of time where you at times were just right along in, say, fourth or third position before gaining a lot of your spots on the restarts tonight?
Yeah, I just I wanted to ride in the top five. I didn't even try to push the car until there was about 30 laps to go, and I knew each restart that we got was going to be important. So you kind of got to push the car a little bit there. But once things single file out, you gotta save your stuff because this track will tear up your front tires. I don't know if it's the line I run or what it is, but I just wear that right front out, and the car starts pushing, and then you get on the throttle, and the rear end wants to come around. So I knew I had to take care of it tonight, and it worked out this time, thankfully.
Overall, how difficult, though, was the pass to try and get the race lead? Because you mentioned you were pushing at about 30 laps to go. What did it take for you, in your opinion, for you to get that pass set up to win this race?
Yeah, I saw James miss the bottom on one lap, and I was able to get my nose kind of underneath him, but I didn't have great position on him, so I was trying to be careful getting into the corner so we didn't take each other out. And just because I was doing that, I ended up hitting the bottom a little bit, so got me real loose, and I just had to regain my composure after that. But it's real tricky if you try to get on the throttle just a little bit too much, the car's just gonna come around quick.
Now, a 2-week break now with July the 4th, and the 4th of July, I should rather say, coming up. But the next race is at Myrtle Beach Speedway. Your thoughts on how that race will go, and especially with the significance of that track and its current situation in real life for comparison?
Yeah, I really enjoy Myrtle Beach just because it's not a typical racetrack. It's real gritty, wears the tires out, and the arc of the corner is unique. So it gives you options to kind of race each other, and I hate to see something like that happen to one of those tracks. That's something that should be around for a long time. But things happen, and hopefully we can keep it on iRacing and still have the virtual version to enjoy.
Indeed. Anyone you want to thank for your victory tonight?
Yeah, just thanks to the Bootleg Racing League and the Cruise Shop for being a great title sponsor for us. They allow us to be able to do this and to have broadcast with a great group of guys like GSRC. So we really appreciate it, guys, and thank you for everything that you do.
Congratulations on the victory tonight, as well as the strong start to the campaign.
All right, thank you, guys. I really appreciate it.
That was J.R. Shepard coming home with the race victory tonight by half a second. Third place finisher tonight is the biggest charger, the hardest charger, rather, tonight. He was our pre-race interview as well. He's standing by with Devin. Michael Redding finished in P3.
Boy, we've been able to talk to Michael a lot here tonight, and I think he's probably a little impressed there with a 12th to 3rd place finish there. Man, Michael, take me through just going through the field almost 10 spots up on a track that was just so demanding tonight.
Yeah, it's like I told y'all earlier, I wasn't going to take too many chances early. Everybody that I passed pretty much came to me. A lot of the guys was getting crossed up or sideways, and I just took advantage of it. But man, once I got to the 3rd place, I was pushing like a dump truck, and those guys were running off and leaving me.
And what made the difference for you? Obviously, taking a little bit easy at the start helps you control those tires, but what do you think made the difference in being able to have that tire control and let you run the way that you did there towards the end to move up into the podium?
I really don't know, to be honest. I guess just the experience that I have, being easy on that right foot, man. That's keeping the car pointed straight and not letting it get sideways on you, saving those tires.
Yeah, keeping that egg under the throttle, right?
Yeah, I'm more of a dirt racer, so this is kind of different for me, saving tires.
And we'll bring it home third. A mighty fine race there with that Evel Knievel helmet on you and that sponsor up there on the hood. Who do you got to thank here for this podium finish that you got here tonight?
Definitely got to thank Hot Pit Media. Go check those guys out. Pretty cool podcast starting this Tuesday. I got to thank Max Throttle Motorsports. Everybody at MR Evil Motorsports on my team. Lowell and John for putting this on. Cruise Shop, you guys for putting on an amazing broadcast.
Well, Michael, congrats on that third place finish. We'll see you here in 2 weeks.
Sorry, y'all. Have a good one.
That was Michael Wright there rounding out your podium here tonight, Justin. An exciting race, and man, those tires, conserving there at the start paid dividends for a few different drivers.
It definitely looked like it did throughout the evening, absolutely. And we mentioned the crucialness of it, especially with how attrition was not much of a factor throughout the entire evening, it seemed, at this racetrack. But Myrtle Beach could be very interesting because, again, we talked about a bit of the significance of what's going on the rear world track with what's going on with that situation, but it's also a very unique track in the characteristics, especially those giant hurdles/billiards that are in the bottom of turn 1 and 2, as well as how you approach that track in general.
Yeah, and that can kill your car. And I mean, JR mentioned it, how it's gritty and it eats up tires. Boy, it feels like every track that we race here eats up your tires, but Myrtle Beach is just another kind of monster, and JR did a great job. He took it so easy here early on tonight that it allowed him to run for the lead at the very end, and I think that tire control, again, is important every week, but man, going 100 laps at Myrtle Beach and keeping that car off the wall, that is a tough task that we're going to enjoy seeing here in 2 weeks.
Absolutely. It's going to be very interesting to see how that racing goes indeed. I'd like to thank you for tuning in for tonight's race at Five Flags Speedway. I'd also like to thank the Bootleg Racing League for organizing this exciting series. We'd also like to thank the Cruise Shop for sponsoring this series as well. Once again, if you are interested in going on a trip, call them today at 260-755-6125. We'd also like to thank the companies who provide the software and hardware for a broadcast listed up on your screen. Additional thanks to Jude Lawn, who provides her wonderful music on the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. Thanks to the team today, featuring Devin and Sean. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC and any upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. If you'd like to help support the channel, you can check out our merchandise for sale at gsrc.storemv1.com. Or you can check out our social media on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at Global SimRacing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. Don't forget to head over to our YouTube page and hit that big red subscribe button as well as the notification bell so you don't miss a moment here on the Global SimRacing Channel. As talked about, the next race on the campaign goes to Myrtle Beach Speedway. Coverage starts at about 8:50 p.m. Eastern Time, green flag at 9:05 p.m. Eastern. That's 1 a.m. GMT. Be sure to tune in. We have lots of upcoming races for other series listed up on your screen as well, including the major series on the iRacing Esports Network tomorrow evening. Be sure to check those out and mark them down your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and see you on the track.